Welcome. This is the Assessment Records and Elections Department's fiscal year 26-27 Department Orientation and Budget Presentation. In 33 of Oregon's 36 counties, the Assessment Records and Elections Department is two separate departments operated by two separate elected or appointed officials, the County Assessor and the County Clerk. Bringing these services together in one department can help us work more efficiently and manage costs, but it also comes with some real challenges. We can be more efficient by cross-training staff and shifting help to the areas that need it most when they need it. We can also reduce costs by sharing resources, such as space and administrative support, and by limiting duplicate management structures. A combined department also means more challenges. For example, there are more deadlines to balance. Staff training can take longer because of the work spans several subject areas. And in a general election year, we're preparing for and running an election while also trying at the same time to complete the annual tax roll. All of the work performed by the county assessor and the county clerk is required by state law, which helps ensure consistency and accountability for the public. Next, we'll walk through the responsibilities of the county assessor and the county clerk. County assessor. At a high level, the county assessor assesses all taxable property in the county and produces the tax roll used by the tax collector to bill and collect taxes. The work behind that summary is far more complex. In fact, Oregon's property tax system is often described as one of the most complex in the world. The assessor's office is organized into two divisions, appraisal and assessment. The appraisal division is responsible for valuing every component of real property. To do this, we complete setup studies including land, on-site development, local cost modifier, and depreciation studies. We also perform a ratio study using sales to compare tax roll values to the market and determine the adjustments needed to reach 100% of current year real market value. The Department of Revenue must approve the ratio study before we can certify the tax roll. We must appraise all new construction, which requires field inspections to measure and classify improvements, evaluate construction quality and other factors that affect value, document our findings, and add the new construction to our records. To keep values accurate, we perform reappraisals by re-inspecting properties for changes in condition or characteristics that affect the value. During reappraisals, we also look for omitted property. Examples include improvements added without a required building permit or improvements for which a permit was not required. To appraise industrial property and business personal property, we send property returns that require businesses in the county and industrial property owners to report taxable personal property and machinery and equipment. Processing returns requires reviewing submissions and entering asset lists into our system to determine value. The Assessment Division administers the programs and processes the assessor is required to perform by law that are not directly related to establishing property value. Mapping is the foundation of our assessments. To produce the tax roll, the assessor must maintain tax lot boundaries and maps by processing property divisions, consolidations, and annexations. Because we are a mid-sized county in terms of population, but geographically the second smallest county in Oregon, we contract with the Department of Revenue for cartography services. This saves the county the cost of maintaining a full-time cartographer on staff. Property addresses and ownership. As people move and as property changes ownership, we review and process deeds and trace property descriptions to identify the correct tax lot. We then update ownership and address records so tax statements are delivered to the appropriate party. Data requests. We respond to a wide range of inquiries for assessment data. As you can imagine, assessor information is frequently used and requested by the public. Special programs. The assessor's office also administers several special programs that are interconnected and can significantly affect the tax roll. Exemptions. We process exemption applications that remove taxable value from the roll. There are many exemption programs, each with its own criteria, processes, and rules. This can require researching applicable laws, administrative rules, and court decisions. corresponding with property owners, applicants, other agencies, making determinations, updating our system, and tracking for ongoing compliance and potential disqualification. Exemption examples include veterans, charitable, religious, fraternal, housing, and enterprise zone, to name a few. Special assessments. There are many special assessment programs, each with different criteria, processes, and rules. Two of the most common programs are for farm and forest land. Eligible farm and forest properties can receive a specially assessed value. This requires processing applications, verifying farm income for non-EFU properties, verifying use for all specially assessed properties, and identifying and disqualifying properties that no longer meet statutory requirements. We also complete additional studies to determine the specially assessed values used to calculate taxes. Deferrals. We receive and process senior deferral applications, which allow eligible seniors to defer payment of property taxes so they can remain in their homes. Fire Patrol. The Oregon Department of Forestry works with our office to code accounts and assess certain properties for Fire Patrol. These assessments help fund state fire protection in vulnerable areas. Urban renewal. Urban renewal is used frequently in Hood River County. Although we are a smaller county, we currently have 4 urban renewal districts. Urban renewal districts are complex to establish and add significant complexity to tax roll calculations. Finally, after all this work is completed, it's time to finalize the tax roll. This involves several steps: reviewing annual district tax certifications, creating new districts and updating district changes, and running checks and balances to identify errors. We determine and apply the change property ratio, which is the ratio of real market value to maximum assessed value, which is used to give new property added to the tax roll the benefit of Measure 50. We calculate assessed values. We determine tax rates and compute taxes subject to the limits of Measure 5. We then certify the tax roll so the tax collector can print and mail the tax statements. After the tax statements are mailed, we are required to defend our values through the appeals process, while also beginning the work needed for the next tax year. Next, we will discuss the responsibilities of the county clerk. County clerk. The county clerk responsibilities are varied and include recording and archives, license issuance and payment processing, property values appeal board administration, statement of economic interest filer liaison, and elections. Recording and archives. We are the keeper of the public record. We receive documents for recording by mail, over the counter, and through electronic submission. We review each document to verify recordability, accept or reject it, categorize it, process payments, scan and record it, and return it to the submitter. We also create and maintain an index so the public can locate documents later, and we preserve these records permanently. Marriage licenses and domestic partnerships. We issue marriage licenses and register domestic partnerships. This includes reviewing applications before issuance and processing documents when they are returned. We also issue certified copies, provide required information to the state of Oregon, and process payments for liquor licenses and Planning Commission appeals. Property Values Appeals Board. The Property Values Appeals Board is the second step in the property tax appeals process. The board is made up of 1 county commissioner and 2 Hood River County citizens. The county clerk administers this program by ensuring board members receive required training, posting required notices, reviewing and preparing petitions, scheduling and coordinating hearings, communicating with petitioners, and preparing the Summary of Actions report. Statement of Economic Interest filers. Certain county positions, including the county commissioners, sheriff, county administrator, planning commissioners, and justice of the peace, are required to file statements of economic interest information with the Oregon Government Ethics Commission. We act as a liaison by ensuring the state has the information needed to distribute filing notices and by forming each office holder of their filing requirements. Elections. Elections are the most difficult and complex responsibility of the county clerk's office. Many people think of elections as a one-day event. They see the ads and the campaigning for weeks, cast their ballots, and view results on election day. In reality, elections are an ongoing process that requires months of planning and preparation before an election and several more months of work afterwards to complete and close it out. Some of our election responsibilities include voter registration. This includes processing new voter registrations and maintaining the voter registration roll. This ongoing work includes keeping information up to date by removing deceased voters, processing address and party changes, and coordinating with other states to help ensure voters are registered and voting in only one place. We maintain district boundaries and an address library. As annexations occur and addresses are created or modified, we update maps and adjust address ranges so voters receive the correct context on their ballots. We serve as the filing officer for candidates. We accept, review, and process petitions, referendums, and referrals. This includes publishing required notices in the newspaper, verifying signatures for petitions and referendums, and supporting completion of the ballot title process. We design and proof ballots, test ballot styles, print, insert, and mail ballots, collect return ballots, and store ballots securely. We verify signatures on ballot envelopes against the voter registration record, challenge questionable signatures, and then open, scan, and adjudicate ballots. We also process write-ins, publish and share results, certify the election, conduct required audits, including hand counts of randomly selected batches, calculate election costs, and build districts and the state of Oregon when applicable. We do all this while maintaining the security and integrity of the elections process. Current snapshot. Ongoing population growth combined with frequent, often unfavorable legislative changes continue to increase both the volume and complexity of work performed by the Assessment Records and Elections Department. For several years now, we've been unable to complete a reappraisal cycle or review and audit exemptions, special assessments, and returns. Loss of institutional knowledge, retirements, recruitment difficulties, and retention challenges have all contributed to a significant erosion of institutional expertise. The Assessment Records and Elections Department recently lost approximately 140 combined years of experience through retirements. Multiple recruitment efforts have been unsuccessful due to the high cost of living, non-competitive compensation, and the former lack of a defined appraisal career track. In addition, the comparable counties used to set compensation do not include a key organization to which we are losing employees. Staff have left our department for another county department, other counties, and the state, primarily due to pay. Much of the work we do is cyclical, highly technical, and detail intensive. Developing the judgment to handle exceptions and nuances typically requires several years of hands-on experience. Tasks that previously could be managed by one seasoned employee now often require additional staff time and oversight. Just as employees become fully productive, a process that takes typically 2 to 4 years, they often depart for a higher paying opportunity. As a result, we invest heavily in training while other employers realize the long-term benefits. Single points of failure. In several critical areas, only one employee is trained and able to perform the work, creating significant operational risk for the county. The current budget includes meaningful steps to address these challenges. For example, we received an additional appraisal position, reclassified current staff, and established an appraisal career track. Because these changes and the new hire were implemented only recently, the full impact has not yet been realized. As staffing stabilizes, we are beginning to see continued increases in overall work output. Budget summary. This proposed budget sustains the additional investments in personnel made last year, helping address the single points of failure and the backlog of work identified as potential revenue opportunities for the districts. Today, we are more reactive than proactive. Appropriate staffing will allow us to spend more time anticipating challenges and acting early to prevent problems. We have identified several projects that prior staffing levels did not allow us to complete. This proposed budget should provide us the capacity to begin addressing the backlog of work and special projects, as well as reducing single points of failure. The proposed budget should also allow us to continue digitizing records and advancing paperless processes, improving efficiency and providing a better experience for our customers. In addition, the proposed budget should enable us to implement a reappraisal cycle and conduct program audits over the next few years, increasing revenue for districts and improving equity for taxpayers. Unaddressed needs. This proposed budget does not address several needed capital improvements, including election security upgrades, replacement of worn carpeting, and the purchase of additional appraisal vehicles. It may also be insufficient to fully cover costs associated with appraisals and legal support for appeal responses. This concludes the Assessment, Records, and Elections Department Fiscal Year 2026-2027 Department Orientation and Budget Presentation.